So there are two types of promotions when it comes to promoting your services or your products. The first type is what we call evergreen promotion, meaning this is running 24/7. Second type of promotion that I'm talking about today is actually the launch style content. This is one where you're going to get a huge cash injection. And so what this might look like for a local business is you might have something that's like a sale, like a buy one get one free sale, or you might have like a sudden surge of an event, right? Like an in-person activation event, or for online stuff, it might be like a birthday sale. The only thing that when it comes to nailing launch content is there is some preparation that goes into it. And generally, I like to start this out at least 2 to 3 weeks beforehand so that you have enough time to be doing all of your little magic inside of your content to get people ready to buy and being like, take my money. I've got my notes up because I just did this for a client. I'm just about to do it for another client in the breathwork space. Last time that we did this was for Black Friday sales, and it was extremely successful, even in the service space, because we leverage what was going on at the time in the market. And when there's already momentum, guys, it's so easy to jump on that momentum. If there are like industry specific events, if there are industry specific things, or even just general holidays, there are so many opportunities for you to frame a sale or a launch if you have enough of a lead up. If you kind of just drop it a couple of days beforehand, it might be a little bit lackluster, which we definitely did that in the beginning of my business, and we learned from that. So the first part when it comes to nailing a really successful launch is you need to know the offer really well. This is going to come off the back end of really specific target research into the problems that your customers are currently experiencing based off of the current world conditions around them. What's happening in the world around them might give you a different reason, a slightly different edge or an angle to come to basically launch this and to say, hey, here's another opportunity for you to solve your problem. Now you want to figure out what you want to give away in this offer. And so with launches, I like to keep it a little bit spicy, a little bit fresh, and throw in something new every time, which actually creates this loop inside of their brain psychologically to want to come back and to keep up to date with what you're doing. So we like to throw in extra stuff, but you need to know specifically what you're going to give during the promotional period, because you can also stagger it out as part of the strategy. Now, some people, depending on what it is, you might have a strategy to delay the delivering of this service or this product, but that is up to you. But you do need to know the delivery timeframes because we want to communicate that very clearly in the sale. Now, if you want to make it even easier, whenever you're launching, let's say Black Friday sales or some sort of sale and there's a massive promotion, I see that as an opportunity to get a ton of new customers, new eyeballs. Launches are things that are meant to create this massive surge of momentum and fresh set of eyes onto your business. And not all the eyes that you've generated during this massive launch will necessarily convert just yet, because some buyers do need a few touch points with your brand. But this is where your evergreen content system and your marketing system comes in, because this is actually leveraging the momentum created by this launch. Like after the launch, you like say, hey, we had this many people jump in on the sale, and even though the sale is over or this launch is over, we're still offering this. Here's how that changes. So it still gives relevancy to the following evergreen promotions that you do. Then what we're having this client do is we have 3 phases throughout the launch. So 3 weeks, each week is a different phase. In the last week is usually where you want to be talking most about your product. Think of it kind of like you're going out broad, and then as you get closer to the actual launch, the closer you get to it, the more you can talk about the product. But the further out, you want to start creating these little seeds that get you addicted and hooked into your content. And so this is what we're doing 3 weeks out. And then 2 weeks out, we're more so activating the ready to buy buyers and getting them ready to pull their credit cards out. And the last week is literally being like, are you ready? This is the product that we have been handing, like you've said this and we've listened and all of this stuff. In the 7 days leading up to, let's say, the doors open or they get the coupon code or whatever the sale is, I'm putting out specific pieces of content on during each day so that people are pretty much lining up in my DMs ready to buy. And this is where I personally like to do back end sales, so backdoor sales. So like if I can see that they're keen and they're ready to go, I will offer them an incentive to jump in early. They just won't have access to whatever the main thing is, but I'll give them access to something in the meantime. So if you want to offer that, where you want to take payments as soon as possible, I had one mentor say, like, I never want to say no to sales. So you would need to figure out a way to where you can take payment, but also decide if you want to give them the product. If you are offering them to jump in early, make sure you throw in some extra goodies for them. So it also creates this like backdoor buzz, because then you can be showcasing that in your marketing, teasing it like, people talking about getting into the product. And it also creates this like sense of, oh my goodness, something is going on behind the scenes. And we just love mystery. we love being little human detectives, right? And so if you can create and drop little Easter eggs in your marketing leading up to it, and you are providing these backdoor sales where they can come in and you can say like, hey, yes, you can jump in and you get this special stuff. So this is where you can actually start generating sales even before you officially launch and announce the launch and all of that stuff. What I like to do during a launch is keep an eye and ear to the ground, meaning how are people responding to my launch? Because that's going to, yes, I know in general what's going to work best for my brand based off my past data. However, every launch is different and we must treat it accordingly. And so I'll keep my ear to the ground, and if I'm picking up certain things, whatever marketing content is going out, I like to make sure that I still have final approval and I can change it as needed based off of the feedback that I'm getting. Marketing is a conversation. It is not you yelling into a big megaphone and it's just out into this like crowd and no one's responding back to you. It's actually a conversation. You just need to figure out the language that your people are speaking, because they're not speaking back to you in English or whatever language it is. They're speaking back to you with their actions. And so if you can match their actions to a part of the sales and correspond to, okay, this is what they actually mean, like they want to see more of this content, less of this content, this is actually what's going to activate them, you're going to have a much more successful launch. I mentioned a lot of things in this video, but give you a high level overview of how to approach your launch. There are specific sequences, like I said, how I lay out the launch, the 7 days leading up to all of that stuff. If you want that, drop a comment down below and I will send that over to you. Let me know if you have any questions and I will talk to you later.